This one is most likely somebody going. Huddersfield, the home of Sheffield Wednesday old-timers at the minute, apparently, because
And they have
Tom
the Rhodes
Lee...
as well.
Yeah, Tom LEES and John Rhodes, but Tom LEES is the latest one to be linked with a move to Huddersfield. It makes sense. He'd go from he likes staying in Yorkshire, goes from Leeds to Wednesday to Huddersfield. Interesting to see how he comes off the edge of this injury. I'd heard about this from a couple of sources, and then I saw all the local journals reporting it, but I think I tracked down the original source. I think it came from Nixon. So Alan Nixon was the original source of this. We kind of just got it from hearsay, but I do want to say that I think the original source came from Alan Nixon with the link.
Makes sense. Doesn't have to uproot his family. Can stay where he is.
They like signing older players. It's an improvement on Keogh for them, I guess. Yeah. Because they like signing aging centre-backs. I spoke to somebody. This is obviously just a rumour. I was talking to a Huddersfield fan in the DMs about this on Twitter, I think, and it was a case of, we think he's... there's somebody on our forum that's usually in the know that says this is a load of rubbish with the interest, but I've said the heavy interest that we're getting could mean they're usually pretty spot on with these things, so it's kind of a conflict of who's in the know.
Yeah.
But I would say that the people we've seen reporting this, Nixon's got it wrong before as well. We'll see what happens, but it just makes sense. Why would this not happen? Would you think it's a big loss?
Not really. I think it's time for him as a player to move on and as a club to move on. We're getting to that point where we're keeping the sentimental players, and I don't like that. When you start doing that, you might as well get out the trophy cabinet and just put them on display.
I've got to say, Tom LEES was part of a squad.
He's a good player,
though. Tom LEES was part of a squad that I absolutely loved.
Yeah,
a part of a Wednesday squad that I absolutely loved. He was one of the good players in it. I think he's been a great servant to the club in his time, and I don't want to diminish what he had in the build-up to it. It has been a case of, it's going to be interesting if he stays in the Championship, because he can have a brilliant game, but there was so many times. And I think it's probably a crowd thing, not having the crowd behind you, not having the assurance of, a regular back four as well, or back five. But I do think he's got a mistake in him, and it showed more and more this season.
But it also goes back to that thing that I think that there's a lot of mentally broken players in this Wednesday team.
Yeah.
Who properly need to move on for their own mental health, to go, right, it wasn't a good season, I need to start afresh. He's one of them.
I think we need a sports psychologist for sure. I think with Tom LEES, it's just a case of, I think he has reached the end of his Wednesday career. And I think I do feel if we keep too many of these players on, Wednesday will end up going down a road of, be careful. You've got to be really careful, because the fan base is wanting a lot. The fan base basically says, just get rid of them all and start again. Not always that easy. Let's look at the core of this squad. Shred it down to a point where I'd say at least half of the new squad that come in are new, right? Yes. Because then you don't get the poison in the dressing room as much as, this is typical Sheffield Wednesday. This is the new Sheffield Wednesday. This is the rebuilt Sheffield Wednesday. And I think Tom LEES he's probably one of the ones on there about 30. I think we could probably we could afford to let him go, in fairness, because we've got Dunkley, potentially Irrigidi, see what happens. There's obviously Palmer, who can also slot into centre-back if he really needs to. Hutchinson, Iorfa. I don't think Tom LEES is a necessity for me. Anything else to say on that one?
I think you're looking at what Moore wants to do, and how many managers have kept over players from so many seasons. We have become that team that stockpile players, and I like it to stop.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't work.
No, unfortunately, it really doesn't, and he needs to be able to do what he wants with the squad. I will say there is some persistent commenters that just... There's two people, mainly one, that just keeps talking about how bad Darren Moore is without any real evidence. And I'm like, the one thing you will be able to judge him on is after he's had a transfer window to actually bring players in and not lie in a bed with pneumonia and COVID. I mean, give him a chance to breathe, for Christ's sake. And yeah, I think Tom LEES, I think he'll be
calm down.
I'm calm. It just annoys me. Could Barry Bannan be leaving as well? I've not put this in the document, but he was linked to, it was probably one of those fake ones, but he's been linked with other places, but the recent link was Luton Town, who apparently don't want him, which is mental. I'm sorry, he'd walk into most squads in the Championship.
Barry Bannan's an interesting one because he is a sellable asset, and if we have got a money shortage kind of thing, as much as I love Barry Bannan and I like him to be in the squad, if you're thinking about balancing your books, that we haven't done for ages, he's a player you sell to balance your books, kind of thing.
No, yeah, he is. What about Hunt then? Because Hunt's the other one, and the Star have just recently reported that it's thought that, quote, it's thought that Charlton Athletic and Ipswich Town, amongst others, have got Alex Hunt on the radar, and as things stand, so Alex Hunt, we've talked about him in the past. There is an option to trigger his contract on further.
I think we should.
But it's not been triggered at the time of recording. Yet again, retain list. We might have triggered him and retained it. It's very... You're going to have to bear with us on that one today, guys. We know we don't usually do it, but I'm allowed. I'm allowed a birthday, okay? So it's going to be... It's going to be an interesting one to see whether we keep him. For me, he hasn't bulked up for the Championship. League One's very physical. But I still think we should trigger it, and if he's going to go get some money for him, because he's got potential there, he could be one of the... Because remember, we released Jamie Vardy for being too short. We can't release Alex Hunt for not having enough meat on him when he can just go and bulk like Origidi did. What do you think?
I think Hunt's an interesting one because we've seen him in bits of games that he got the talent, he got the skill. I don't get why Alex Hunt wasn't a player we turned around and said, right, you're going on loan to Macclesfield first season. We have this uncanny ability to have lots of youth team players, but not let a single one of them go out on loan because our under-23s is light or whatever. I'd be really gutted if we actually let him go without giving him a chance in League One, because if he went to Charlton and Ipswich, we'd just be like, oh great, he's playing against us and he's playing well.
Yeah, it shouldn't. That's the thing. It's the League One club interest for me. Why the hell would we let him go and come back? And because the players that go, they're always guaranteed a goal against you in the first season back as well. And I don't feel it. I don't fancy it at all. I don't know about you. I think he definitely needs to improve his physicality because he's very good with the ball. He just needs to be able to break up the play a little bit more and actually be able to get on the ball and hold it off because. He's a very technical player, I'd say, and he's got the potential to be a very technical player. But
the annoying thing with our
you need a bit more physicality.
Is Moore hasn't seen a lot of them. This is a problem we do have. Moore's only seen a small amount of what they can do.
He's obviously seen him in training, but he's going under 23s games.
But he's going on notes what other people have said.
But he also goes to under 23 games more, so he will have seen them play in. He doesn't go to them all, but I do know that he does try and get involved. The problem is,
Della Batshuayu will be showing him up.
Yeah, that's a good point as well. That is a good one.